everyone, I'm Clem. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today it is the time again where I'm going to share with you my thoughts on the different books that I've read during the month of June. So in June I had TBR, and on that TBR I think there were 5 books, but in the end I managed to read 7 of them, and it's super cool because it's more than I had planned. And also I read some unexpected books because I had time, and so I decided to pick books that weren't on my TBR, and there were amazing surprises. So now I'm going to go more into details and show you the books I've read this month. So first, this month I read the 4th book in the Heartstopper series by Alice Oseman. So if you don't know what this comic graphic novel is about, you're following Nick and Charlie throughout their love story because they discover at the beginning of the first book that they are friends, but then they start feeling more for each other, and so you basically follow their story and the story of their friends. This one is definitely my favorite one for several reasons. This is, I feel like, the first book in which we aren't focusing on the love story between Nick and Charlie. I mean, they're still the main characters, but we're talking about something else about them, not their couple, because in this one Nick is going through depression and an eating disorder, and so he has to go into a day hospital in order to be better. And so we see all of this throughout the eyes of Charlie, and I loved it because it was an interesting way to talk about depression and eating disorder, because you see Charlie is super anxious and worried about Nick, and he doesn't really know how to talk about Nick about his eating disorder, because he goes to see him and he tells him, I know you have an eating disorder, maybe we should do something about it, but Nick doesn't really want to do something. And so Charlie is going to try to get help from his mom in order to help Nick. I really loved it. It was really, really interesting. And also what I like about this one is that in this one we see the sister of Nick, and I know she has like a novel to herself. I think it's Solitaire. I think it's this one. And I thought it was super interesting to see her, because now I want to read a book. I always wanted to read the other books by Alice Oseman, but this one, like the fact that I got to see her made me really want to know more about her, because I think she's a super interesting character and I want to know what's happening in her life, because she's really interesting and I don't know, she's like mysterious, and I want to know what I can learn about her. Next this month I reread Blue Blood by Melissa de la Cruz. So this is a vampire YA series that came out in 2007, I think. So you see, it's a pretty old series, and basically it's a mix between vampires and Gossip Girl, because you're following Skylar, and Skylar is a girl going to a private school in Manhattan, and she's surrounded by all those very wealthy and classic kids. She's wealthy too, but there is something weird about all of them, and one day a girls get murdered, and everyone seems to be panicking about this, but she doesn't really understand why, except the fact that a girl got murdered, but she sensed that there is something more than just the murder. And one day she received this invitation to join this charity that everyone wants to be a part of, and once she goes there she discovers that actually she is a blue blood, meaning she's a vampire, and she is at the age where she's going to transition. Like a lot of blue veins are appearing on the body, she craves raw meat and all of the stuff, and that's basically it. That's the plot of the book, and actually I had a great time rereading it. I don't regret a minute rereading this one, even though when I read it I could feel that this is an old YA and there are so many things that are wrong with it, and the writing. Like, this is a book that is like, it's for teens, okay? Teens, maybe 15, 16s. And they keep talking about sexual thing, like, and all the girls are dressing with like mini skirt and they're wearing thongs. And she's like, Melissa de la Cruz is talking about all those stuff, and I'm like, I'm not supposed to care about this. I don't care about this. I'm 24 and I don't care about knowing that the main character who's 16 is wearing a thong and that the guy noticed it. I don't really care about that. Also, that's something that I'd never noticed the first time I read it, and I read it when I was in high school, so you see, it's a long time ago. And it's the fact that nothing really happens in the first one. Like, I thought so many things were going to happen, but actually it's happening in the second one. The first one is like a big introduction for the rest of the series and for basically the plot of the series. So it was a little slow, but I still had a great time. And also something else I noticed that I never noticed before is that they keep, you know, it's vampire, okay? It's called Blue Blood, you know, there is fangs on the cover. You know it's a vampire book, but no. Melissa de la Cruz waits till the end of the book to tell you that they are vampires, and she keeps on like dropping clues like, ooh, what are they? Ooh, weird. Ooh, she likes blood. What's happening with her? And you're reading, you're like, I know she's a vampire. Why are you doing this? We all know they are vampires, so stop with the mystery. It was useless, but still fun to read, and I can't wait to read the rest of the series. Next, this month, I read for the first time The Taming of the Shrew by William Shakespeare, and I read this book for two reasons. The first one was that I want to read all of Shakespeare in my life, so I need to read it. And also, The Taming of the Shrew is what inspired my favorite movie of all time, 10 Things I Hate About You. So I always wanted to read it just to see like how it was made and how it got inspired by that. And let's be honest, I had a hard time with this play, mainly because I kept on comparing it with the movie. Like I was like, okay, who is this character? Who is this supposed to be in the movie? Why is it not just like in the movie? And like I just made this way more complicated for me than it should be. So at a certain point I like had a talk with myself and told myself, okay, we have to start comparing the book and the movie, because it, of course it's going to be different. It's not set in the same period. Of course there are different characters, they don't have the same name, but everything is going to be fine. And once I had this inner conversation, everything went fine, and I could enjoy the book more. Like it was more pleasant to read it. And of course this is way different from the movie, and I mean obviously because it's a teen movie and this is a Shakespearean play, it has to be different. There are more characters and some of them are really interesting. I really liked it because they all plan to get Kate to date, or in the book to get married, is very different from the book, but I liked it in the book. No, it's very different from the movie, but I liked it in the book because different characters, like different guy who want to date Bianca, actually impersonate teachers, like they impersonate people in order to get close to her and to flirt with her. I really liked it. It was funny. And Kate is also amazing in the play and in the movie. So yeah, it was, I'm glad that I finally read this one. I had a great time. Then I listened to Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secret of the Universe by Benjamin Elias Saez. Yes, that's pretty much his name. And in this book, you're following Aristotle and Dante, two teens who meet during a summer at a local swimming pool. And Dante is going to teach Ari how to swim. And from then, a beautiful friendship is going to happen between the two of them. And it's going to get a little complicated because Dante is going to move to Chicago and Harry is going to stay in his town, and they're going to send each other letters, but they are actually discovering things about themselves and about their families and about who they want to be, how they feel about each other, how they feel about the world. It's really beautiful book about self-discovery and coming of age a little. and I really liked it because it's really poetical and almost whimsical and philosophical at some point, and I liked it. And it was very different from what I thought it was going to be. I guessed it was going to be a little poetic because I don't know, I get the feels when I see the cover, and when people talk about it, it's something I get. But it was really, really great, and I thought it was going to be a gay love story, which it is because everyone knows it, but I thought it was really going to be like a romance, when actually it's not at all a romance. Like, the romance between the two boys is not really there until the end, and it's like the fact that they might love each other. It's happening in the 70s, so you see it was a little, like, not the best time to be homosexual, especially when you were a teen. And so it's really also something they're going to discover and search, and I really liked it. Something else that I like about this book is the whole story with the family of Harry and his father, who just came back from the Vietnam War and is traumatized, and he doesn't want to talk to his son. And also Harry has a brother that's in prison and no one talks about him. And so I really liked learning also about his family, because it's really important in the coming of age of Harry, and I liked it. I read this book because my two best friends kept on telling me that I had to read it, and also because the second one is coming out, I think, this fall, and I really want to read it, and I'm really glad that I read it because it was very beautiful. Also this month I finally finished the Minus Chest trilogy, because I've read The Ship of the Dead, which is of course the last book in the trilogy. So if you don't know what this book or series is about, it's basically you're following Minus Chase, and Minus Chase, just like Percy Jackson, is a demigod, but this time it has nothing to do with Greek mythology but Northern mythology and the Asgardian gods like Loki, Thor, Odin, Freya, and all those people. So I'm not going to go into too much detail about the plot, because this is the last book in a series and I don't want to spoil you. But my thought on the books is that I like it. I liked it more than the previous one. And honestly, just like every Rick Riordan books, I had a hard time getting into this one. Like, it took me maybe the first 150 pages to really get into it and to be interested in the story. And once I got to these pages, then I couldn't put the book down, because I love Rick's writing so much. So yeah, I was really happy to read this. It was still funny, just like any other books by Rick Riordan, so I had a great time. But I'm also very happy that I finally finished this one, because now I'm able to read the next series by Rick Riordan that I want to read, which is the Apollo's Trail, like the one with Apollo, and we're back with Percy and all the characters that I love. And just before moving on to the next book, I really liked the ending, the very ending of the book, like the epilogue. I liked what they did, and like, I don't know, it was just cute, and I got closure with all the characters, and so now I don't need to think about what might have happened for some of them, because I like where they all are and I'm happy for all of them. This month I've read one of my most anticipated releases, because I've read Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. And in this book, we're following 4 sisters and brothers called the Song family? No, a family. And it's happening in the 80s, and they're all famous because of their father, and they all like are a family of surfer. They've been born and raised in Malibu, so they're very linked to the sea and everything. So they all have, like, very famous in their own way. But the thing is that it's happening in one day and one night. And so the night there is the famous party that this family is organizing every year. Everyone wants to come. It's where everyone wants to be, and you have to be if you want to be someone. But the thing is that the party is going to happen, and in the morning the house will be on fire. And that's all I'm going to tell you. because that's all you need to know, because I think it's enough to want to read this book. It was amazing. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I loved it so much, just like any of the other books I've read by the author. What I like about this one is that it's a little different from maybe Daisy Jones and the Six or The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, because in this one it's not about a love story but about a family and the relationship between each other. And also, actually what's interesting is that you're following the present day, so the 80s, and you're following the life of the 4 siblings, but at the same time you're learning about the parents and their stories, because this family is messed up, like the parents are messed up, and I loved learning about that. It was really amazing. I loved it. The ending was amazing. Everything was cool. I loved all the characters. They were super interesting, each in their own ways, because they all have troubles and they all have problems they want to solve, and in a way all the problems are linked together because they of course don't talk to each other, like basic family problems. So yeah, I had a great time. I have nothing else to say, because if I keep talking I'm going to talk about hours and hours about this book and how much I loved it, so I'm going to stop now. And last but not least, this month I read The Black Flamingo by Dean Atta, sorry. And this was not planned for this month, but this was one of the best surprises I had since I started reading. So in this book, you're following this boy called Michael, and Michael is how do you say this? Biracial. Is half Jamaican, half Greek/English, and he's lost. Okay, he doesn't really know who he is. I mean, he's going to discover very soon that he's gay. And this is going to change his life a little bit, because he's going to switch school, he's going to fall in love with the wrong guys, and all of that. And the most interesting is that when he gets to university, because you follow him from maybe middle school or primary school to university, his first years at uni, and once he gets to uni, he's going to become a member of a drag society. I need to say something else? It's just like really, once again, a little of a coming of age story, and I really liked it because I love the theme it tackled. It's talking about racism, about like the LGBTQ community, but also homophobia, about finding who you are, about friendship, and the fact that you don't need, like, judging people on what you think about all those things, about races, sexual orientation, and all of that. Also, I love the fact that included drag people, because I think they're super interesting. I love everything that has to do with drag, because for me they're amazing people. Like, I'm fascinated by them. I would like to talk with so many of them, because I don't know, like, I watch RuPaul and I don't know, I'm impressed by everything they do. There's such an example of confidence and like resilience. I love them. And also another thing that's important to know about this book is that it is in verse, and I like it. And also Michael writes poem, and so you have his poem in the book. It's just so good, so good. You have to read it now. Go pick it up, like, stop watching this video and go read the book. It's amazing. So yeah, I loved it. So yeah, everyone, that's it for my June wrap up. I hope you had a great time watching it. Don't forget to like this video if you did, and also tell me in the comments down below what you've read, or if you want to read any of the books I talked about. And I will see you next time. Bye everyone!